Let's go over to Brekum. Now, in Brekum, there's a school. Nsapor, St. Augustine's SHS. They are also crying for help. Let's take a look at this report.
The St. Augustine Senior High School at Nsapor in the Brekum West district of the Bono region started as a private school by the Catholic Church and was later absorbed by the government 7 years ago. However, since the absorption by government, no infrastructure has been added to the existing ones. This building, which was also inherited and it is to serve as a classroom block, has been abandoned. Few structures that have sprung up are the initiative of the Parents-Teacher Association. The infrastructure deficit has been a major challenge facing the school. Headmaster of the school, Reverend Father Felix Starr, has been speaking on the issue.
We have a lot of infrastructure challenges, and with regards to classrooms, administration, dormitories, and many other things. When it's time for classes, it becomes difficult for the whole school to have classrooms. And so some of them will have to go to the dining hall. There are times others will have to even go to the kitchen and use as their classrooms. Sometimes we have to sit under trees. So these are all affecting teaching and learning. This is supposed to be a classroom block, and it's a 6 units, but it's uncompleted. And so once it's not completed, we can't use it as such. So the top is supposed to be a 2-story, and the top has not been done. And so when it rains, it falls on it directly, and it is affecting the structure. If we don't complete it in no time, it will go bad, and we will have to perhaps do something about it before it goes bad. This year, for example, we had 416 students who were posted to the school. But because of the infrastructure, lack of infrastructure, we could not admit them. We had 173 only. These were the only students who could be admitted.
Underneath this mango tree is the staff common room because of inadequate infrastructure. Some of the teachers share their thoughts with the news team.
We don't have staff common room. Teachers come to school, we sit under the mango tree. The other day we were here, a snake fell on one of the chairs. We lack facilities in the school. So we are pleading with the government and then all the NGOs who can assist us, but that at least they should try and come to our aid, help us with these facilities so that St. Augustine one day will be heard over there.
I've been in the school since government took over, and it has been a headache. Because of the infrastructure problem, most of our kids, when they come, they don't want the school. They would like to go to schools that are around Brekum, and it is a very big challenge. So we want something to be done about it. Though government have heard our cry, but it seems it is delaying. So if we can use this medium so that government can do something about it.
As we can see, the teachers here, we don't have a permanent staff. That is why we are always under the mango tree. Then when it rains too, we hang around or we get into the classroom. Then when the rain stops, before we come back, we don't have any place to store our documents or items or books. So our books are getting missing. In fact, we are having a big challenge that needs to be addressed now.
All what we have seen here is just by the contribution of teachers and some parents. We started a new block here. Teachers started it. Since I've been here for almost 5 years and even more. All these projects that you've seen here, either done by the parents or teachers. What we can point our finger on it is this one, which is by the Catholic Church. So we don't have anything here from the government. So we are pleading, if you can channel our issues to them, that they should come to our aid.
The assembly member of the Nsapor electoral area, Praise Jabin, has been telling Citi News what he has done about the situation.
And there have been several steps that has been taken, because since 6 years now the school started, we've not gotten any government intervention in the school. It has been individuals, the church and the individuals that has been helping us. So we've written a lot of letters, and me being a member of the executive committee at the assembly, I've spoken with the district chief executives about the infrastructure deficits that we are facing in the school.
Two of the student leaders reiterated the need for infrastructure expansion in the school.
At times, we have to also wait for a certain class to complete their lesson before the others will go for their lesson. So we are pleading to the government that he should come to our aid so that we have a good structures, specifically our classrooms.
As you can see, this is a structure, but it's not yet complete. We are pleading for the government to come to our aid and help us complete this structure for X, to help us in our education.
The headmaster of the St. Augustine Senior High School, Reverend Father Felix Starr, is urging government to come to the aid of the school.
So we want to plead, if NGOs get fund, people who are interested in education could come to our aid and help us. So for the infrastructure needs, there are a lot. There are a lot of infrastructure needs.
All right, so Nsapor St. Augustine's SHS in Brekum. Happy, why do we do this to ourselves?
It's even more disheartening because at different levels we keep chanting the fact that we're champions for education and that education is one of our priorities in this country. But day in, day out, stories like this pop up.
Yeah,
so much for priority. Yeah, we chance upon situations like this, and then you ask yourself, really, is this the education that we are talking about?
Yeah.
Let me just ask for the students being under the trees and learning and having to wait when the rain subsides, they go back. That's one angle of it, right? And we know how demoralizing that could be for a student. But young people, well, they have a certain level of resilience that we don't even understand.
Yeah.
And so they will find the light in the tunnel, the dark tunnel, and make most of the situation. But the teachers, do you know what it means not to have a place to store your documents and your books as a teacher? Do you know what it means to have to sit under a tree for, you have 150 students and you have to mark their assessments, their homework, their exam, and you have to do that under a tree? That's back problems. That's, you're worrying that a snake will fall down. That's a lack of concentration, and so you hurry through. You may go and mark something wrong out of frustration. You know, you're not being lenient where you need to be lenient. You're not being understanding and empathetic towards the students where you have to be understanding and empathetic. That's a disaster waiting to happen on so many different levels. And then what if they lose the scripts? What if they lose the documents that they need to prepare, their lesson notes, all that? Meanwhile, somebody doesn't even have that much to do and they have an air-conditioned office somewhere in the city. I'm not mentioning any names, but we see it happen all the time. There are some people who, they don't even start their work when they are appointed to do work because their office is not ready. But the people, last week, there was International Teachers' Day celebrated on one of the days. So the teacher who is supposed to be molding and fashioning and preparing these young people so that they can also take their place as responsible citizens and carry on whatever legacy, be it positive or negative, that you've left behind. We're leaving the teachers to, to this canker. I don't understand.
No, so
I don't understand. And mind you, this is a community where I'm sure that a lot of the teachers don't even want to be there in the first place because the situation, the amenities, they are not very welcoming. And then the least you can do, you haven't done it.
We want to talk to a teacher at the school, Mr. Anthony Eyim. He's joined us on the line. Good morning, Mr. Eyim. Mr. Eyim, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
Right, so share with us some of the frustrations that you have, you know, on a day-to-day basis as you go through, you know, trying to build, mentor, form young people into responsible, educated adults.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. You see, St. Augustine Senior High School was established in the year 2013, and it was later absorbed by the government in the year 2017. So when the school...
Mr. Eyim, did you say 2013?
2013 was...
Okay.
It was 2013.
Okay.
And it was, by then it was a private school.
Okay.
So later, in the year 2017, the government came to our aid and absorbed the teachers. So currently, as I speak, we have both teaching and non-teaching, 54 teaching and non-teaching staff in the school. And a population of 416 students.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, when the school started, the Catholic Church did well by putting out the structures that you just shown on your television. So ever since the government took in, we are going through a lot.
Yeah.
It's only the PTA and some other people around, they are assisting us, putting out these pavilions that you show now. Teachers from their own incentives are able to put up a hostel facility for the school so that the students will be able to lodge on campus and study hard. That is why we are calling on the government to come to our aid and assist us.
Yeah.
My brother, you bear with me that last year, Nana Adodanko Akufo-Addo, our president, came here to open one of the factories in Bekum West. The Omahini of Bekum made it known to him that the school needs a bus.
Okay.
That will convey the students from town to school. Since it started as a day school.
Yeah.
Yes. But Nana accepted our plead and told us that the moment you get to Accra, you will do something about it. My brother, as I speak now, would you imagine some students walk from Brekum to Nsapor? Very serious. Anytime the car fails us, we don't have infrastructure. Come and see administration where they sit and work. Administration sits under the trees and over there. At times when it is raining, we go through a lot.
Yeah.
So we are pleading, we are calling on the government. You see, at times we don't want to talk about these MPs and co. You see, we've gone through our MP, we've spoken to him severally, but he's not helping us. He's not assisting. As I speak now, our school is a center for the DEC candidates. Those who write DEC at Bekum Nsapor, Bekum West Nsapor.
How many areas do you cover? How many people come to your center to have an exam? How many schools?
About 22 schools.
I see.
22 schools.
Wow.
Starting from Bekum, Gambili, Adom, a lot of them, they come here and you come and see. Even the chairs that the students sit on, a lot of things. It is the Catholic Church that assisted us in all these things.
Yeah.
But now, they are not enough. So we are pleading on the government to come to our aid, St. Augustine Senior High School. Currently, this worksheet that our students just wrote, the 2021 worksheet.
Yeah.
5 students were able to come out with single numbers.
I see.
Yes, some came as, some got as a grade 9, as a grade 8. As I speak now, some of them are policemen and women. So they go west. In fact, in the Augustine Senior High School, we are going through a lot. We are going through a lot. That is why we are pleading with the government to come to our aid this particular moment.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Eyim. Anthony Eyim is a teacher at the school that we're referring to, St. Augustine's Nsapor, St. Augustine's SHS in Brekum. Well, we've attempted to speak to the DCE, but unfortunately we've not been able to reach the DCE on the line, and so we will hopefully get back to that at a later date. But Epioko, you know, he made reference to the fact that the president came to inaugurate a factory, and that's when he made a promise to get them a bus. So it was actually a tomato processing factory in Brekum. And that was in 2020 that he did that inauguration. And I think there were some roads and other things as well that they had worked on. Yes, you know. But I think that, like you said, we do a lot of talk, but we don't walk the walk. We don't walk the talk that we talk. We need to remodel and reframe our approach to teaching in this country. Let me explain where I'm coming from, just briefly. Traditionally, and all of you who are watching will bear witness to this, traditionally what we've done is that we've created teacher training schools to teach, to train the teaching force of the country, right? Now, unfortunately, the way our approach to teacher training has been that the most brilliant of students are segmented to go into medicine, engineering, law, pharmacy, and those kind of subjects and courses.
Or let's say the students that we believe to be most intelligent.
Yes.
Right?
As per our way of grading students.
Exactly.
We've created an academic system of examining students. And those who come off in the top cream, we cream them off and say, go to these institutions. Now, what we do on the back end is that those that do not qualify for our highest first, second, third tier of the education system, those that do not qualify academically are the ones who we say, you know what, you didn't make it to the university, you didn't make it to the polytechnic, sorry, your only other option is teacher training.
Yep.
It's like a madman has designed a system, and we are happily following this system.
Yeah.
What you are doing is that you are taking those who are the least academically competent.
According to our
model. The least academically competent are training the next generation.
Yep.
Let me not express my emotions any further. I am mad at this thing that we have not fixed it. We won't change it. There are people who love to teach and they're academically brilliant. Yeah. But you say they should go and be doctors and lawyers. Really? It's like a moron sat down and created a system for us. Or maybe a very brilliant wizard created a system for us because they wanted to keep us down. Because if you think about it, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, all over the world, Ghanaian academics were lauded.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We can't say the same of 2022.
Absolutely.
And guess what's been happening? We've released people to teach, and even the teacher in the classroom cannot construct one good English sentence. That's a problem.
So you know what? On another day, we need to delve into this thing, even the way we go about teaching, go about our pedagogy.
Yeah.
This thing of who is more brilliant than the other.
Exactly.
Look at different types of intelligences, different learning styles. Not every student just needs to sit there and listen to what the teacher is saying. Some students are visual learners.
Exactly.
Some people are auditory learners. Some people are kinesthetic learners. They need activity,
spaces for all of these people
to be able to pick up the stimuli and actually learn. People have different ways of learning. Some people have a combination of both. There's something called differentiation. How are we practicing that in most of our classrooms? I'm not talking about the high-end private schools. No, I'm talking about the crux of our educational system. How are we doing that? How are we practicing that? We haven't had all these conversations. And even the way we see the symbiotic relationship between the teacher and the student. Now all over the world, in fact, even in our new curriculum, we are no longer calling teachers teachers, we are calling them facilitators. And students have now become learners because you need to also allow people who are at studentship level to take responsibility for their own learning.
Absolutely.
So that they become lifelong learners and they can solve problems at every stage of their life in society. That's the point of education. So as for this conversation, if you want us to start today, me, I will not finish. I will not finish because I've traveled the length and breadth of this country with different groups and seen interventions that have been put in place and how we've gone back to square one because, like you said, the people who are, some of the people are there don't even understand how to implement. You know, look, let's not even get into this conversation. We can do that conversation.
And guess what? I don't know any person who's in charge of any of our educational institutions for the last 40 years who have subjected their kids to this same education system.
I don't either.
I don't know anybody. 40, 50 years, I don't know anybody who has subjected their kids to this education system. Enough said. Breakfast Day will take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.